These 3 revealing tips are things that I've never heard anyone once mention in my nearly 3 decades of wrestling experience. So you may not necessarily learn anything new in terms of techniques, but what this video is designed to do is to reveal to you the possibilities of the techniques that you already know. So just by organizing them in your head in a different way, you can get a better return on your effort. So the first thing that no one will tell you when you start wrestling for jiu-jitsu is that you want to split the body into 4 quadrants, right? Vertical and horizontal. So that's going to give you 4 individual quadrants, and you want to have a takedown in each one of these quadrants. Organizing your takedowns in this way is going to give you chaining ability. It's going to give you flow, all right? Just like a triangle with an arm bar. One of the things that you can do, and not just any random takedown, you want to make sure the takedowns pair really well together. So just one little quick tip on how to do that. Whatever your single leg side is, your head inside single leg side is, that should be your lead leg side, okay? So I'm a right leg lead, so I'm gonna step forward and attack that same side, right? It's my partner's left side, my right side. And what you wanna do with your single leg side is have your dominant underhook be that side. Okay, why? Because a failed single leg, if Eddie starts to step that leg back and I fail, very easily converts into an underhook, okay? And an underhook very easily converts into a single leg. And you wanna have an underhook, a good underhook on both sides, but making sure that your dominant underhook, the underhook that you have the most reps, you spend the most time on, is on your single leg side, is gonna allow you to chain into other takedowns. And underhooks just in general give you access. This is why underhooks are so popular in wrestling and jiu-jitsu and grappling, is because an underhook gives me access to all 4 quadrants simultaneously, right? So if I can get this single leg, great, but if he steps it back, there's my knee pick, okay? If I want to go upper body, I can dig an underhook on this side here. As Eddie floats his hips away, I can then snap into a front headlock. An underhook, it gives you a massive variety of offensive options, specifically an ability to chain into those offensive options from one another, increasing your efficiency and your takedown rate. The second thing no one talks about when you start wrestling for jiu-jitsu is that you should never focus on just one single takedown at a time. You should pair that takedown with its equal opposite, its appropriate opposite, okay? So if I want to do leg attacks, if I'm focusing on my shot with Eddie, I don't ever want to just focus on my shot, okay? I want to pair it with a front headlock. Reason being is if I'm trying to get to my front headlock and Eddie can feel that and he starts posturing up, that perfectly sets up my snatch single leg. And conversely, as I'm going for the single leg, he's going to be putting his stance lower and lower to protect it. So all I have to do is fake at that leg and then boom, I'm in my front headlock. And that brings up our next point, is that if you don't know what your takedown's opposite is, just pair it with a front headlock. You can pair it almost perfectly with just about any other takedown, okay? So again, even if I'm going upper body, right? Even if I'm going with an underhook in that previous example, even just one underhook, I can start faking at the legs and then snapping him into a front headlock. Even off double underhooks here, it's very common for our opponent to try to float their hips away, and that makes it very easy for me to then snap them into my front headlock. And conversely, if I'm in a front headlock here and Eddie starts to posture really hard, he's trying to come up, I can pass that into a variety of leg attacks, okay? So thinking about making this mental change from focusing on one single takedown to focusing on a pair of takedowns simultaneously is going to open the other takedown up, all right? It's gonna give you more availability quicker, and you'll start having more success quicker. The third thing that no one talks about when you start wrestling for jiu-jitsu is that inside and outside position are equal on the feet. It's not like on the ground where inside position is dominant the majority of the time. It's the position that you should want to be in. When we're on our feet, there's a whole host of offense, high level, accessible, low risk, high reward offense that exists from outside position. I mean, right off the bat, slide bys, okay? So if my partner is giving me collar ties, there's a whole array of slide bys, shuck bys that happen just from outside position, right? My hand is not inside of Eddie's, it's hanging out on the outside, and there's a whole host of takedowns that I can hit from there, right? Even arm drags, obtaining outside position here so I can then pass it to inside position. Just know that when you're on your feet, being in outside position isn't nearly as detrimental or negative as it would be on the ground, okay? So be willing to flow once you get into this hand fight. Once your partner, you go ahead and put, yeah, be willing to flow once you're in the hand fight. Once I'm here and I pummel inside, my partner pummeling back inside isn't necessarily a bad thing. It can just become actually a setup for my next offense. Making that little mental switch and having that awareness will help create a sense of calm on the feet, right? So you don't feel like you're hanging out in bad positions anytime you're on the outside. You're probably just not aware of any offense that you can do from the outside. So if that is you, you can go ahead and grab our free mini course, our free takedown mini course in the comments and description below, and I'll teach you how to attack from the outside. People have liked the course so much, they've emailed me saying, man, I would have paid for this, but we're putting it out for free as a resource for any jiu-jitsu practitioner who's trying to up their skill level on their feet. So go ahead and grab that before you take off.